Well, good morning, humanity. It's July 24th, 2023, and it's the favorite time of our week because it is Mondays with Bev and Paul. And hi, everyone. My name is Paul.
Good morning, everyone. This is Bev.
Yes, it is. Good morning, Bev. Top of the day to
Good
you.
morning. Top of the morning.
Top of the morning. All right, folks, we're going to talk about bridge the gap with BioTouch. All right, so Bev sent
Oh,
me this quote, which at first we thought was said by Nelson Mandela, but it wasn't. Is that right?
well, it according to the guy that was
Posted?
talking, yeah,
Right.
it wasn't a direct quote. It was like, this is what he said to me.
Okay, so it's a paraphrase. But anyhow,
Yeah,
if it wasn't a direct quote, we're going to make it a quote for us.
yeah, no kidding.
Because it goes like this: You have to physically reach out and touch each other to bridge the gap between us so we can feel that love is real.
Oh boy,
Woo-hoo!
isn't that what we've been talking about?
I mean, we can't say this enough, folks. This is the whole purpose of this touch healing technique that we call BioTouch. And if this is your first
Yep.
time here, please stick around. If you have questions, post it there. And go to our website, justtouch.com, if you want to just learn how to do it. So let's talk about this so we can feel that the love is real. So we talked about the
Yeah,
bridge, right?
yeah, the bridge.
Yeah, and so I started looking up all these other quotes about bridge.
Oh man.
So one that definitely goes to Nelson Mandela is it is in your hands to make a better world for all who live in it.
Well, which is what, and we'll read that later, which is what Gary Schwartz said about BioTouch,
Right.
the promise.
Well, let's just read it.
Yeah, make it a better world.
So Gary Schwartz, again, we're going to use him who wrote BioTouch Healing with the Power in Our Fingertips by Deborah Schildhouse, who has a new book coming out. And he talks about that love. The kind of love that BioTouch fosters is a high level of love. He says, this is the kind of love that I emphasize in workshops. I teach the core principle. Energy flows where the loving mind goes. We're
Right?
putting up two fingers if you're just listening to us on a
Where the loving
podcast.
fingers
The
go.
loving fingers go. You know, I remember reading this book once. I think it was grandfather, the guy I used to study with, and he wrote
Yeah.
this book about the future. And one of the characters was this character who actually their seeing was done through their fingertips. The eyes were on the fingertips. I have to find
Oh,
that.
wow.
I just realized that.
Wow, that's interesting, isn't it? And that was before you knew about BioTouch?
Oh, way before BioTouch, right? And I'm just remembering now that he wrote that because
Oh,
where the loving mind goes, and so the
yeah.
mind and the eyes is where the mind goes, and
That's crazy.
so that to me is why we need another human being. That's where your
Yeah.
mind goes when you're doing touch. You're seeing another human. You're which represents our being in time and space in this physical
Mhm.
reality.
Mhm. Yeah.
Rumi also wrote, "Love is the bridge between you and everything." And the
Everything.
Dalai Lama said, if you want to understand the oneness of humanity, look at bodies. So, why do we teach touching another human being? Because the biggest question is always, well, can you do it on yourself?
You know what? And that is just, when I think about that, I'm like, of course people would ask that. That's the easy way out. And what I always think was, I'm sorry, but BioTouch is here to what? Force us to come into the presence of another human being and work together,
Right?
practice together, love each other, honor each other. What? I'm sorry, you don't get to just do it on yourself.
Right. I mean, even like last week where I talked about touching myself while I was in the dentist chair. But it's always about picturing. So even if there's this other plane where we, can think, where the loving mind goes, as Gary says, then that
Right.
loving mind is about somebody else doing biotouch on me, even if I'm doing the points on myself. I'm
Yes.
picturing someone else doing it on me. I'm letting the loving mind be in relationship. That's where love is.
That's the key. That
Yes.
is the key, that relationship right there.
Yeah.
Even if you're imagining someone touching you, you're still bringing another person into play, in that relationship. Yeah.
And so then love is not just a concept. There's a even though we can't define it, we're not talking about romantic love or the kind of
Right.
love we
No.
have with sex or those kind of. This is a deep love. Like Gary said, a deep love that fosters empathy, compassion, caring, kindness, gentleness, protection, safety, warmth, gratitude, appreciation, and respect for
Oh,
another human being. Right. And when we do biotouch, we don't recommend or diagnose either.
nope. Not at all.
Right.
No, we stay because, you know, biotouch has figured out that there's no requirement for that. The only thing that's required is the touch itself and honoring. Once we start to think that we can diagnose, tell somebody else what to do on their journey, we've just what taken away their own uh, power to choose and to become aware. That's not our place. Our place is just to share biotouch in that relationship and just leave it alone and let everybody, whether you're a recipient or the associate, doesn't matter because you're both in that relationship of giving and receiving.
Right.
Right?
And the
That's right.
loop goes
The
round and
loop,
round and
the
round.
loving loop,
The loving
the
loop. I
loop,
like
the
it.
loop of love,
I'm going to write that down. The
the loop of
loving,
love. Yeah.
loving loop.
So it's like we don't have to, and we say this all the time, get the little ego that really wants to tell everybody what to do with it, and oh, I've got an idea, and why don't you try that one? We don't have to do that in biotouch. We just, as we say, just touch. The rest will happen
Right.
because that body is an intelligent unit that knows what it wants and knows what to do when it gets it.
Right.
When it gets biotouch, it knows what to do with it.
And we find all the time because we're basing this on self-awareness. If you leave people alone and to help them trust what's coming to them, and that might be some angelic spirit talking to them, it might just be their mind, or it might be that they bump into somebody in a store who happens to be a naturopath or an herbologist, or but you start finding that people attract things into their life, and biotouch seems to help them trust what they've attracted.
This is why we say the talk about the unlimited possibilities when you practice biotouch.
Right.
I mean, get out of the way of it all. That's a great self-awareness right there. Just get out of the way. Be a participant in your healing journey rather than the victim or whatever, or the person that just sits there and has somebody else tell them what you should be taking, how you should be doing it. No, I've had too many people tell me, BioTouch lets me participate in my healing journey through self-awareness and through making different changes from that and choices.
So it's interesting when you talked about get out of the way. Um, that's what happens when you let somebody else touch you. This concept of working on yourself is sort of like, how can the ego dissociate from its own pain? You know,
Right.
it's
What do you
almost
always,
impossible.
it's like tickling yourself.
Right. How do you tickle it? If anybody out there is able to do that, let me know. Because so far in these few decades of my life, I've never met anybody who could tickle themselves. And
I
so it's
know.
sort of the same thing with this pain or this fear that we live in. Krishnamurti once talked about, how can the mind get rid of the mind? It can't. That's like the stupidest
It's
thing.
not going to
The
happen.
ego can't get rid of the ego. So somehow we have to step out of ourselves. And the
Yeah.
greatest way to step out of ourselves is let somebody in with love.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that touch, as we've been just given all these quotes, what is it here? Touch each other to bridge the gap between us so we can feel that love is real. This is why
Wow.
we're trying to get it out there.
I know. I know.
So
It's true.
if there's ever anything real in the world, and I'm not even really sure what is or isn't anymore, but I do know what's real. If I try to walk through that wall, I'm going to get a bloody nose.
You're going to get a bloody
So you
nose.
can tell me it's all light and just particles of light that appear to be real and on and on and on. But you know something? I'm still bumping into walls and I'm still
Right.
bumping into people and I still get on speedway and my car just wants to get ticked off because the person in front of me won't drive the speed limit. So
I know. It's
so and that's what's beautiful about BioTouch. You can live in all those judgments and it'll still work.
well, it meets us in everything that we are and everything that we're not. That's actually what one of the great aspects of love is, when you can love someone for everything they are and everything they are not. And that's what BioTouch just, I always think BioTouch just lets us take a breath. It just lets our bodies breathe, because I don't think we all realize how tightly wound and how tight we are holding our bodies much of the time. That's, under duress and anxiety and stress of being here on the planet right now.
Right.
There's not a lot of awareness sometimes of that. If you do get a chance to take a breath, you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I was holding so much. But BioTouch has a way of helping us to release that in, as Gary says, in safe and loving ways that we don't have to get all,
Right.
it just lets us breathe.
And we find that with people. Just doing the greeting within the first minute of even doing the stress set, people will let out a big sigh. The
Yep.
first time they've been able to breathe and take a breath. And the research shows the stress levels and the go way down. The energy levels go way up because you're
Right.
relaxed. They feel more relaxed. It's funny you were talking about that it works. Love just works. And I remember talking to this guy once. It was about healing work, and he had all these theories. And well, it's the energy moving and on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And I said, well, with BioTouch, we don't have to worry about that because it's just about love. And he turns to me and he goes, well, when you get to that level, nothing matters. That's the
I
point,
rest my
buddy.
case. Okay, and into this conversation.
And it's funny because when you bring up, well, it's just about love. There's nowhere else to go. You can't
This is
build
why we're all
theory,
here.
right? You can't build theory onto that. So that's why we're trying to present BioTouch as simple. Let's keep it simple, folks. You can go
I
learn
think
this
as
technique.
Yeah, we're not here to try to have a dissertation on what we think love is. What we're just saying is, as much as it's possible for all of us to experience what this four-letter word love even hints at, BioTouch is just right there. So as much as we're capable in our group evolution as a humanity, none of us know what that really is, but I'd rather have us speak and practice love other than the other polarity of that. So it doesn't matter if we know about it or not. It gives us a sense of something higher, and BioTouch lets us experience that together.
Right.
We're not entering this age of separating ourselves and saying you're over there and I'm over here. I truly believe BioTouch is here at this time because there's a new keynote, a new message, We are not doing this alone anymore. We are not separated, never have been. You and I have mentioned that many times. We are one group, and we've got to bridge that connection between us and remember who we truly are.
Gandhi said it's easier to bridge the oceans that lie between continents than it is to bridge the gap between individuals or peoples. Well, we're saying maybe it is easier now to bridge the gap between individuals and peoples because we have BioTouch, right? During his days, there was no internet, there wasn't the web, there wasn't this or that. But now we really, truly, it's hard to get away from the global community. You know, you go to Facebook, TikTok, this, that. You know, you are in everyone's home, and they're here. And to us, that's
sharing
beautiful.
National group.
Right.
We're sharing planetary karma together, aren't we? Or in experiences.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why we have really loved. I mean, we took off with the pandemic. We have all of our virtual trainings going on. You can learn this anywhere. You can download our ebook, and it has links to the video. If you have personal issues we're happy to work with you. We have more than enough certified practitioners around the world that will communicate with you on how to work on your particular problem. And if all you're looking for is maintenance, you know, you just had a baby like Kai and Matt, you know, or two babies, and you know, you just want to develop a healthy life, you know, and BioTouch is perfect for that. You don't have to have a disease to start BioTouch. You can take 1 minute out of your day just to bridge the gap between individuals with just doing the greeting. So please let us help you. We're here. We have a really good workshop coming up this Thursday with John Kerr of last5yards.com. And we're going to talk about care for the caregiver. He has an organization that specifically is working with caregivers, and we are in collaboration with him. So he's going to do a presentation on Thursday, and then we will teach the points that can best help for the caregiver as they're caregiving, which then creates that loop of love, right? I mean, that's a perfect example of it. So. You know, the stress of caregiving is off the charts, but doing something like BioTouch can really lower the keys down quite a bit. And John will talk about that on Thursday. So join us Thursday. Otherwise, go to our website, justtouch.com. Go to our Facebook page. Go to our YouTube page. Go to any page you want. Look up BioTouch Healing on Google. We're all over the page now, man. We're getting out there. So we're on the AI. Go ahead, ask AI. How, you know, ChatGPT. Ask them. Well, why should I do BioTouch? Type it in. It'll tell you why. So
it'll tell you.
We're playing with the internet and the global community because we want to bridge the gap. So please join us. Yeah. We're here every Monday. And it looks like Bev's going to be here sitting next to me next week. So we'll talk about why that is. We'll talk about why that is and how you too can help loved ones as they're going through their own health crisis. So, all right. Thanks, Bev. That was a great little show.
Thank you, Paul.
And thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
If pain has got you down and you live in town, take a trip down to Pima Street. The people down there are people who care. They will get you back on your feet. Put love into action. Put love into action. If you ever want to have any real satisfaction, choose love while you still can. Don't even try to understand. A healing grace in your own hands. Put love into action.